also coming from Colonel Lenong's report. That was the door with the boot footprints on.
Yes.
My apologies, my lady. I see that they make black and white. They're clearly visible, but during the course of the day, we will replace it with color copies. So would your lady accept this as Exhibit BB? It is quite clear in black and white as well, but we will make the color copies available.
Thank you very much.
Colonel, would you be prepared to make available to us your telephone record of last night and this morning, meaning when you left court and before you come back? If we ask that, would you consent to that?
If you ask it, I can make it available.
Will
to
you consent to that?
Yes.
Now, there is a trace analysis department.
That's correct, my lady.
At the forensic science department.
That's correct, my lady.
You don't work there?
No, I'm not part of the trace analysis section. They are a separate section within the scientific analysis.
You in the materials
I'm
analysis.
in the materials analysis section, yes, my lady.
And your experience on trace analysis?
My lady, I was working with a trace analysis section, or in the trace analysis section, since the creation thereof in, I think it was 1999 or 2000, I'm not exactly sure now. But then I moved over to the materials analysis section later on. So I do have some trace analysis experience.
In the trace analysis department or section, you will get the certified tool mark examiners.
My lady, just to clarify, there is no certified tool mark examiners in the trace analysis section, neither in the materials analysis section. If you speak about tool mark, certified tool mark investigators, they all reside at the ballistic section.
I'm sorry, you're absolutely correct. I was wrong in putting. I was just reminded that it's in fact the ballistics. And I was looking at your qualifications, your academic or theoretical qualifications in regard to trace evidence. Can you tell the court what that is?
Do you mean from my statement, or what?
Well, what qualifications do you have? What courses did you do?
Can I refer back to my affidavit? Is that what you're looking for, sir?
Well, if you can just tell us.
My lady, when I worked in trace analysis, I did some fiber comparisons, I did paint analysis, I did explosives analysis, I did physical matches, quite a lot of, and some other diverse analytical chemistry work as well, which was done on a variety of chemical substances and materials.
I'm looking at your not experience, I'm looking at qualifications, courses that you attended, for how long it was, where it was.
If you allow me, my lady, I would like to refer to my statement and referring to paragraph 2.3 of my statement. Is a lot of courses that I did both locally and internationally that's given there, and I can start with the first one where I did the fire investigation course back in 1993.
Maybe, Colonel, if I can save time, I'm not interested in the fire investigations. I'm talking about trace evidence.
My lady, fire investigation is also a type of a trace analysis, because the analysis of the fire debris after the fire took place is also be considered to be trace evidence. But if he's not interested in the fire investigation, it's fine. I did SEM-EDX analysis, course in that. I attended a trace evidence school held at the South African Police Forensic Science Laboratory, in which was presented by the Trace Evidence Unit of the FBI in August 1998.
How long was that course?
That was a week-long course, my lady.
I accept that you know the work of the forensic science and introduction to scientific and investigative techniques by the edited one by Stuart James and John Nordby.
I'm not familiar with that specific article, no, my lady.
Will you accept, otherwise we can go through it, that the learned authors and so also other experts are clear that when you examine tool marks, that one essential part of that is a microscopical comparison?
My lady, depending on the type of tool marks you're referring to, I fully agree with them. If you do a tool mark investigation where a screwdriver was used to break open a lock and there's microscopic detail that is looked at, then I absolutely agree that one must make use of microscopes in order to view the detail you're looking for. And maybe I can just mention, my lady, that never did I claim that I am a certified tool mark investigator. Neither did I claim any of that in my statement. So the big thing about the tool mark, certified tool mark investigations is kind of, I don't know what the relevance thereof is.
When we spoke yesterday about the wooden pieces, the missing wooden pieces, you said and you agreed that it could have shed some more light on your investigation. You remember that?
That was correct, my lady.
Yes. And I think that was the reason why you said that you took some steps to try and locate the wooden pieces, the missing wooden pieces.
As I explained yesterday, my lady, I did. I cannot remember to who I spoke, but during the conversations about the missing pieces, I could not determine the location of the missing pieces.
You said you even went so far as to go to the SAP register, to a register, to try and find out what happened to these wooden pieces.
My lady, I cannot recall saying that I went to SAP's register. I said it was possible to go to probably a SAP 13 register to see what exhibits was submitted, but I did not say that I went to the register and inquired.
But someone must have checked for you, or you must have checked, or you must have asked someone to check whether those exhibits appeared in the SAP 13.
I never did a request like that, my lady, because the marks that I saw on the door that I compared with the cricket bat was, I was confident that I could explain the marks on the door and how it was created. Can
I read your evidence?
Yes, you may.
I cannot remember exactly who I spoke to, but nowhere did any of those exhibits appear in the SAP 13. Please explain that.
My lady, if that is my exact words, I want to correct it. As I said, I did not mean that I did an investigation to look at all the SAP 13 registers to try and locate that. And, I apologize if...
but it cannot be, with respect, it cannot be for you to have stated under oath that nowhere did any of those exhibits appear in the SAP 13. It can only mean one thing, that it was checked and it could not be found there. You agree?
That's why that is how it's understood from the sentence, Mr. Roux, correct now, my lady, but I want to correct myself in saying that what I meant yesterday was that during the conversations I had, I could not determine where it was, and if it was booked into a SAP 13, I did not have, I could not find any information about it being there. So,
when you were asked about it with reference to the events on 30 April 2012,
yes, my lady,
you said that you had tried to find out what would have happened to those wooden splinters, but no one could give you an indication. You remember that?
I remember that, my lady.
And could you remember who you spoke to?
As I said yesterday, and I repeated this morning, I cannot exactly remember during which conversation with whom did I try to establish what happened to
Well, we know one thing. Let's work from there. It was 30 April 2012.
Yes, sir.
Now, that request or query could only have been in relation to your examination of the door. You now look for the missing wooden splinters or pieces.
My lady, maybe I can also just say that I didn't mean my conversations regarding the missing pieces was only on the 30th of April. Obviously, not being able to remember exactly who I spoke to, the exact date on which I got involved in the conversations would also be very difficult for me to recall now.
But we have dealt with the first part that you had no difficulty, or the part that I'm dealing with on the 30th of April 2012, when you were also looking for it. We've dealt with that. All I really want to know is, can you remember who you spoke to on that day?
My lady, that's why I'm saying, and I'm going to repeat myself, I cannot remember exactly in which conversation the missing pieces came up. It could have been also afterwards during the consultation, or when even with the photographer, when he brought me the photographs that he took of during my investigation. I honestly cannot remember who I was involved with the investigation, with the conversation.
Let's take it step by step. We have your answer in the query that you made on 30 April. I'm only dealing now, I'll come back to 8th of March. I'm only dealing with 30 April. And my understanding is you did ask for it, but you cannot remember who you spoke to.
That's correct, my lady.
Now, you could only have asked for it because you knew that you had to examine the door.
My lady, as I said, I cannot remember in which conversation it took place. Maybe it was afterwards that I had, it was an idea of mine that what happened to the missing pieces. It was not that I engaged in the conversation because I wanted the missing pieces to proceed with the investigation.
Well, let's go back to your evidence. What is not in dispute that you held the view that those wooden pieces, and to quote you, could have shed some light on your investigation.
It could have, my lady, but I was happy with what I saw on the 30th of April, that I could explain the marks on the door and how it linked to the cricket bat.
And what we also know that on the 30th of April you examined the door.
That's correct, my lady.
What we also know on the 30th of April 2013, that you asked about the missing wooden pieces. We've gone through that. You can take that evidence back, or you can just confirm it.
My lady, I said a lot yesterday, and if I confirmed it, then it's. If I said so, then it's probably like that. But it was not necessary for me to have those evidence to actually confirm what I did.
We're not talking now about what was necessary and what was not necessary. And this morning, again, you confirmed on more than two occasions that on the 30th of April, because I took you to that every time, You asked about the missing pieces.
My lady, I already said that I cannot remember exactly on what date and what occasion I engaged in a conversation about the missing pieces, meaning that was it on the 30th of April, was it on the 12th of March, or whenever.
Colonel, you had no difficulty earlier in your evidence today to agree that on the 30th of April you asked about the missing pieces.
It's possible that I asked on the 30th of April as well for the missing pieces, but with whom I engaged in the
and if I may say, it was also not a possibility. You were quite clear on that. What was not clear is who you spoke to.
Yes.
You agree now?
Absolutely, madam.
Yes. Now let's take that now and see if it can be correct what you're saying. We know that is the day that you examined the door.
That's correct, my lady.
You agree that it would make good sense that when you must examine the door, that, and as you said, that you asked for the missing pieces.
Yes, my lady.
Yes. And of course, let's see who you could have asked. The one person is, of course, Captain Mangena, because he's there. He's with
one possible person. Yes.
He is, according to you, and if my understanding was correct, the person that preserved the door.
That's correct, my lady.
So that's the obvious person to ask.
That's can be concluded. Yes.
Now, what I don't understand, we've seen the photograph. We've seen the photo right next to the door. On the 30th, we see the pieces, the missing pieces. We see them lying there. You remember that?
That's correct, my lady.
So common sense would only dictate to me, but of course you can assist us, that you ask Captain Mangena, where are the missing pieces in the door? They're lying there, and he would say to you, but Colonel, there they are.
That's possible. That's one possibility, my lady.
What would be the other possibility?
My lady, as I said, I cannot remember exactly who I spoke to and exactly the words that I used. I could have even mentioned it to my colleague in the office that I did not see the missing pieces myself. It was so. I just vaguely remember a conversation in which I was where I mentioned the missing pieces, and I really cannot shed more light on this, my lady.
But it's not, with respect, correct what you're saying. It's not that you mention it. Your evidence was clear yesterday, and that was also this morning. You asked about it. It's not a mentioning. You asked about it.
My lady, I also mentioned this morning that it could have been afterwards during my discussions with a photographer that took the photograph. So if I say I cannot remember exactly who I engaged with in this matter, then I really do not remember with whom I spoke about it.
But let's take it one step further. The door arrived in an evidence bag on the 8th of March 2013. There at the scene.
That's correct, my lady.
And then we see photos of the contents of that bag. It's opened, and we see the door, the panels, and that I term the missing pieces. Of course, they're not missing pieces. It's the little pieces. They're there.
If they were there, my lady, then I'm happy to
yes. Well,
accept it.
I've showed you the photos. Now we go to the second step. So that's relevant to the bag. Now again, we know that bag must come back to the 30th.
Yeah. My lady, just to clarify, the piece of wood that we saw on the picture that I was shown yesterday was the little piece on the right-hand side of that panel, which were in the picture in the middle of the passage as you entered the bathroom. That is the only one that I can remember now.
My lady, I want to object. And I apologize, I was just really thinking if an objection is necessary. So it's one question later. Mr. Rupert is witness. We see on the 8th of March the splinters on a photograph. Those photographs weren't shown to this witness. On the 8th of March, we're not talking about the photographs that were handed in this morning, because that's a different scene. So I would like Mr. Root just to make clear when he showed the photographs with the body bag and the splinters on the 8th of March.
You say they went together. It was a photograph of the body bag, the splinters.
On the 8th of March.
And yes, Mr. Root.
Lady, I will get the photos in the meantime. We will show the body bag, and I will come back on the 8th of March because that's my instruction, but you will see that's Exhibit AA. And we'll show that to the witness.
My lady, with the utmost respect, cannot be AA. AA was attached to a statement of Colonel Lenong, and those weren't there on the 8th of March, and that's my objection. Cannot be put to this witness.
And lady, I accept the photo that I saw. I thought it was 8th of March, but I'll come back to you. Can I work with this photo?
Yes, can you withdraw that question?
I will withdraw it in that sense. Thank you, my lady. Colonel, you've seen AA. Photo AA.
Is that the
body bag with the door, with panels and little pieces? Not one piece, little pieces.
Yes, I saw it yesterday, my lady.
What bag is that, do you know?
It looks like a body bag on the photo, my lady.
Is that because you saw the body bag again on the 30th of April, not so? Or you saw it on the 30th of April?
I did not see it on the 30th of April. Well, on the photo I saw, it was there next to the door, between the two shelves against which the door was propped up against.
Well,
okay, just 1 minute. I'm getting a little bit confused.
Yes.
What are you talking about? What is the witness talking about?
The body bag that I see in this picture, I see this is a body bag, and I saw on the picture yesterday there was one between the two shelves at ballistics on the 30th of April when I did the investigation. I would not be able to say whether it's exactly the same body bag, but
looks the same.
If it's possible, my lady.
Well, I'm asking because it was not identified as such. It was, I don't know, someone referred to it as a what? A plastic or something?
As a bag.
A bag?
Yeah, it's a bag.
Yes.
There was reference to body bag because it's a typical body bag that they put the door in, but it's a bag.
Thank you.
That's the one that you know which one I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about. The one that was shown to me on the picture yesterday was of it seemed like a plastic, which could have been the body bag between the shelves, my lady.
Now, we know there's a bag on the 30th, and we know there's a door, and we know there are the missing pieces.
Yes, my lady.
That we know.
Yes, my lady.
Your evidence yesterday, I want to read it to you, about the procedure on 30 April. You spoke about the height of the door from the floor and how high the marks would be, and you say, so when we put up the door there at the ballistic section on the 30th of April, it was not necessary for me to go back to the house.
That's correct, my lady.
So one thing we know is that you assisted in putting up the door.
At the house, my lady, yes.
Yes. No, I'm talking about the 30th of April.
No. I assisted at the house, my lady. I assisted in putting in the screws through the hinges to hang the door at the house on the 8th of March. At the ballistic section, I was called by Mr. Mangena that morning, and he said he's busy working on the door. I can come down and
May I read your evidence again?
Yes,
yesterday, verbatim? So, in relation to that, so when we put up the door there at the ballistic section on 30 April, it was not necessary, and you carry on.
My lady, I physically did not put up the door against the shelf there. When I arrived downstairs at ballistics, the door was already standing against the shelf. And again, if that was understood that I physically put up the door, that was not what I meant, my lady.
Well, let me take you through that. And I'll put it in 3 questions. One is, when you gave that evidence, you had no difficulty to say, we put up the door. However, when you were confronted about the missing pieces, that was only then that you tried to, and I will read to you what you said then, that you tried to move away from your presence at the semblance of the door.
My lady, I'm confident that when Mr. Mangena gets into the witness stand, he will also confirm that the door was already put up against the shelves when I arrived downstairs. So, as I said, I did not physically took the door out of the bag and put it up against the shelf.
Of course, you may speak to Mr. Mangena and you get that corroboration. I understand that. Let's look at your evidence. I've given you the first part. We had no difficulty to say we put up the door. Then when you were confronted with the missing pieces, this is how far you could go then. And I read to you, that's on page 1027, you say, I asked you, when you arrived there, that's all the 30th, what did you do? Did you help to assemble the door? But now there was some confrontation about the missing pieces. You're more careful. Can I read your answer there?
Yes.
When you changed it, you said, as far as I can remember, the door was already in position. You were uncertain then. You moved back and said, well, I might have said we did, but as far as I can remember. Now, something caused you now to become clear in your mind. What is that? Was it that you spoke to someone since?
No, I did not speak to anyone involved in the case since, my lady. It's this thing played over and over in my mind last night, and it's probably because of that I came to the conclusion this morning. The other thing is, on the 30th, the panels were not held in place by the little strip in the bottom there. So I can show you with the laser. That little strip was not in place like it is now, where I used little nails to keep it in place. It was kept in place with sellotape, if I can recall correctly, and the panels were moving. It was not like it is now, where there's no movement of the panels. So putting up the door and assembling the panels refers to us constantly having to push the panels in again.
Can I just understand you, hear your answer? Let's just get the correct position and then I move on. One is, you started off by saying we put the door up. You agree? Your initial evidence.
By meaning putting the door up, that was part of putting the door up, was trying to reconstruct it and putting the missing pieces or the loose pieces, trying to fit them in.
The second part was that as far as you can remember, the door was already in position. That was the second part.
Against the shelf, my lady, yes.
The third part is, I thought about it last night and I can now definitely say the door was assembled when I arrived there.
Yes, my lady.
And the fourth part is, when you talk about assembling, I'm talking about the little pieces that could be moving.
The loose panels in the door, not little pieces, the loose panels in the door.
I just want to have clarity. You agree?
Yes.
The 4 versions.
Yes.
That it's correctly
yes, my lady.
Put to you. Now, you told the court that, and I want to take you to the precise place that, including you, that you are as much in the service of the accused as the defence is.
That's correct, my lady.
And that you would be objective.
That's correct, my lady.
But then you said to the court, when I asked you about the print on the door that you'll come to, you said to the court, I was only there to work on marks caused by the cricket bat on the door and no more.
That's correct, my lady.
That was your sole instruction?
That's correct, my lady.
And for that reason you would not bother, you remember the words? Bother about the other marks.
I was not bothered. Yes, my lady.
Yes. And that was even so after you had read the version of Mr. Pistorius at the bail application.
I did not read the version of Mr. Pistorius at the bail application, my lady. I said specifically the first time I saw the version of Mr. Pistorius, and I did not see the entire version, was earlier next day, last week, up in the office where we sat, where the file was open at his version, and I just scanned through the page or two that was visible. That was the only time I had access to Mr. Pistorius' version on paper.
Colonel, I did not say that during the bail application you read it. I'm talking about his version at the bail application, that version given at the bail application. We know that you subsequently read it.
That's correct, my lady. But the way it was said, it said I read the version of at the bail application.
I understand. But now you've read it. You, as much in the service of the accused as the defence is. What now?
My lady, the reason for reading the version of that part of the version was not for any investigative purposes. My investigation was done already. So it was just walking past, and I saw it there, and I just read the little piece that was available or that was visible there. I did not even sit down with a file and paged through it.
Wow.
So it was the reading of it was not to accustom myself with his version. It was just out of I had nothing to do at this stage, and I just scanned through that little bit that was visible. My
now, let's go to your first evidence in that regard. It's page 1038. You talk about sitting in the chambers, and then I asked you specifically, how did it happen that you saw that version? That's a reference to the version of Mr. Pistorius at the bail application.
That's correct, my lady.
And this is your answer. It was in general discussion there, and the trial was there, and I said, now is this Mr. Pistorius' version, and I read through it. That's your evidence.
Yeah. In general discussion, my lady, by meaning there was other discussions going on as well, and I noticed it there, and I mentioned it, and I just went through the little bit that was available. I did not sit down and read the entire version of Mr. Pistorius. That was not the purpose of me reading that. It was just something that happened in passing by.
And I can repeat the last part, and I read through it.
Read through that little bit that was available, or that was visible to me, my lady.
And are you saying now, in reading through it, you did not pick up that his version was that he had his prosthesis on, that he kicked the door, could not get it to break down, then took the cricket bat and bashed the door. Did you not read that?
I did not read that.
So what you're saying in reading through it, you did not see that?
I did not see it, my lady.
Yes. But what you also said, coming back to this, is that you were only focused on the marks caused by the cricket bat.
That's correct, my lady. The marks that I suspected to have been caused by the cricket bat.
On the door?
On the door, my lady.
That was your sole investigation?
That's true, my lady.
And anything else, all the additional marks, you ignored?
I ignored those that I could not immediately link with the cricket bat, because I know there was other investigations going on different issues on the door, and it was not my intention to investigate other marks.
And because your investigation was solely focused on the marks of the cricket bat on the door, that's all you would do?
That's correct, my lady.
What about the investigation of the prosthesis?
What about that investigation, my lady?
Tell the court.
I got the prosthesis afterwards, and I had to examine a little bit of damage, or a mark on the shin of the one prosthesis, as I mentioned yesterday, my lady, and I could not determine by looking at the mark what could have caused it. Specifically, there could have been various reasons why that mark was made on the prosthesis.
Did you not say to them, I'm not doing this, I am only focused on the marks that could have been caused by the cricket bat on the door?
No, my lady, that was a separate issue. It was not to do with the marks on the door.
Yes, I understand it's a separate issue, like the foot, the prosthetic foot on the door is also a separate issue. Like the prosthetic legs, that's also a separate issue.
I was not requested to do analysis on the prosthetic foot, my lady, except for that mark that was on the shin of the one leg.
And what is interesting, in presenting your expertise to the court, you said the following, it's page 980. And I have done international proficiency test in shoe print investigation.
That's correct, my lady.
But what you did, however, say to the court yesterday is, yes, it is true, if that is the mark caused by a prosthetic foot on the door, and I'll break it up, then of course it would be consistent with the accused wearing his prosthesis.
If that was the mark of a prosthetic foot on the door, it would be consistent with him wearing his prosthesis.
Yes.
That is correct, my lady. If that is the mark of a prosthetic foot.
Of course.
Now that's very important. If it's the mark.
I've got no difficulty with that. You are ever qualified it. And the qualification was, yes, but just bear in mind, I want to tell the court that it was of course possible, because that plank was out of the door, it was lying on the floor, and he's carrying the deceased, he could have caused that mark by wearing his prosthesis, by stumbling on it or rubbing on it or whatever. That could also explain the mark. You remember that?
It is a possibility, my lady. I remember my testimony about it very clearly. But until now, I'm not convinced that it was actually caused by the prosthetic foot. I said it's a possibility.
But you cannot be convinced because you didn't, to use your words, bother to investigate it.
I'm not convinced that it is a mark, my lady, because there's no evidence. I did not do any analysis on it. No evidence was presented to me that could lead me, or that could convince me that that was a mark caused by a prosthetic foot.
All I'm saying, I'm putting it no higher than this. I say, assuming that the experts on behalf of Mr. Pistorius are correct, I want you to assume that, not to accept it, and that was in fact a mark caused by the prosthetic foot on the door when you kick the door, then of course it tells a story. Assuming that's correct, that's proven.
If that is the assumption, my lady, I must agree that it is a possibility.
Yes. But then you raise two possibilities. On that assumption, I'm not asking you to accept it. I work on the assumption. Because that's my instruction, and I work on the assumption. They say, yes, he could have kicked the door, and you had a third qualification, if he could reach that high. That's the first one.
That's very important. If the door was in place, and it was in fact a foot kicking the door there, then at least he had to raise his foot that high to be able to kick it.
I can tell you now it's very easy for the accused to kick that high. And that will be the evidence later on, accepted for present purposes. Then we go to the second aspect. There you had two possibilities. The one is, of course, that's his foot. And the other one, yes, it is his foot, but it might have been imprinted on the door because it was lying on the floor and he could have stumbled on it and caused the mark there under difficult circumstances.
That's also possible, my lady.
Yes. We requested your files yesterday. And they consisted of 3 files. You have them there in front of you.
I've got them in front of me, my lady.
We will hand copies to the court as exhibit. The first file we will mark as exhibit CC1. Lady, may I just mark it before I hand it up to you? That is the first file received from you. The second file received from you we will mark as CC2. And the third file we will mark as exhibit CC3. If you can explain to the court, what is your first file, Colonel?
My lady, if he refers to the first file as the one that is marked with a 1 on top.
Yes, it's marked accordingly.
According to my, okay. The first file would be the first entry opened for the materials analysis section in this case. The second file, second entry, and the third file, the third entry.
Could you just repeat that?
The first file would be the first entry for this specific case. The second file will be the second entry and the third entry. If we receive exhibits at the laboratory, we can we open an entry, lab number in the laboratory, and if there are subsequent exhibits received in the same case, it can happen that the second entry and the third entry in the same lab on the same lab number can be opened, and that is exactly what happened here, my lady.
And what is the purpose of forensic files or dossiers?
My lady, the purpose thereof is to keep record of firstly the chain of custody of the exhibits received at the laboratory. The next one is to have a place to file the copy of the affidavit that was, or the statement that was written in this case. Another reason for this can be to have a place to add any other subsequent information that came out of the investigation, my lady.
And your tests done, the documentary exhibits?
The tests done and the document of the exhibits.
In relation to a case?
Yeah, it can also be stored in the case file, my lady.
That's where it should be.
That's true, my lady.
Yes. Did you remove documents before handing it over to us?
I did not remove any documents, my lady.
Well, let's look at it. Let's look at the first file. If we go to the first page of Exhibit CC1, we see it refers to registered entry for materials analysis. You see that?
That's correct, my lady.
And the second page, we will see the reasons why this was transferred to you, to the materials analysis. Is that correct?
You're talking about this document where there was a handing over of exhibits.
The heading reads Forensic Science Laboratory Form Manual.
That's
Biologic
correct. That's
section.
correct, my lady.
That's the third document.
Yeah.
And it deals with two things: the holster and the cricket bat.
That's correct, my lady.
And reason for transfer on that page: analysis.
That's correct, my lady.
So what happened to the holster?
My lady, the holster as well as the cricket bat was at that stage not opened by me. I kept it sealed as it was sealed, and it was handed over to the official photographer at a later stage. And if I'm correct, there is proof of this handing over. If we just look further. On the 12th of March, the cricket bat still sealed as I received it on the 8th from Colonel Thompson at biology.
Where are you reading? Where are you reading?
My lady, the handing over initially on the 8th, I received the cricket bat and the holster from Colonel Thompson, who's working at the biology section. They did some analysis on the cricket bat and the holster prior to me receiving it on the 8th. On the 8th, I just...
I'm trying to find out where you're reading. I thought you were reading from somewhere.
No, I'm not reading.
You're not?
It's the second page in CC1.
Yes.
What's the heading? Is it
the Forensic Science Laboratory from Manual Biological Section.
Yes, we've got
biology section.
Biology section, my lady. This is just an internal handing over the document to have chain of custody if exhibits were handed off, to have record, not chain of custody, to have record of exhibits handed over from one person to another, which is typically used in a situation like this, where I was requested to collect the holster and the cricket bat from Colonel Thompson and hand it over to the photographer at a later stage. On this document, she filled in the evidence sealing bags in which the exhibits were sealed. and I signed for the evidence.
You signed for the holster and the cricket bat.
For the holster and the cricket bat.
And then?
I kept the holster and the cricket bat still sealed in the bags as I received it in my possession, under lock and key. And at a later stage, that was handed over to the photographer, Mr. Van Staden, Warrant Officer Van Staden.
When was that?
The cricket bat was handed over to him on the 12th of March.
Could you show us just that document?
That document is page 5 of 6. If you page further in that file, you will see there's a document marked page 5 of 6, where the
what is the heading of that document?
It's an official police letter, and I signed it where I handed it.
Is it the one, sorry, just to assist the court, is the one that's dated 12th March?
12th March,
2013.
Yes. Okay, on the 12th of March, I handed the cricket bat over to him. And that was for the performing
I just think you're moving much too fast. The document that you're being referred to, which one is it?
And Lady, may I assist the court? He was going a bit fast. If you page through, and I'm going to give you the number of pages, if you include the first page.
I think we've got it dated the 12th of March.
It's the 8th page. It's an official letterhead of the South African Police, and it's dated 12th March 2013.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, my lady. That's the letter that you referred to,
That's
Colonel?
the letter I'm referring to, my lady.
And there you say you handed the cricket bat over.
That's correct, my lady.
So you were in possession of the cricket bat and the holster from the 8th till the 12th?
Till the cricket bat until the 12th, and you will see later on the next page, there's a photocopy of an exhibit bag where Warrant Officer Van Staden signed for receipt of the holster. The holster I handed over to him on the 11th of March, my lady.
Now, let's go then. After that page, it's a document with the heading, it's South African Police Service and then investigation diary.
That's correct, my lady.
What is an investigation diary?
SAP 5, my lady, if sometimes we have a place, we need a place to write some information about the investigation, it will be written down in the investigation diary. It's not, I can state that it's not always used, and in this case, you can see I did not make use of this page, as all the information regarding my investigation was captured or the relevant information was captured in my statement, as well as in photographs that was taken during my investigation, my lady.
And then, what are the other pages in this document?
Obviously, my statement is in there. If we go past the first pages in the document. Also present after that investigation diary, there's three photocopies of evidence sealing bags, my lady. These were the evidence sealing bags in which the cricket bat, the steel plate, and the other prosthetic legs that I have with me were sealed in. There was a request from the defense on the 15th of November last year to be able to have access to the evidence, and I made the copies of this evidence sealing bags as it was sealed in order to make available to the defense's experts, should they need to open the bags, that they can just sign on the document that the bags were opened by them. That is for chain of custody purposes, my lady.
And then in your statement, the last paragraph in that docket, the last page, you say that all the photographs used in the statement were taken by Warrant Officer Van Staden. That be correct?
That's correct, my lady.
Where are the photos or the video where you hit the door or pretend to hit the door to determine the marks?
My lady, I did not take video. We did not take video of that. The photographs, all of the photographs are with Mr. van Staden, the original photographs, and I also have a copy of the photographs on my computer at work, my lady.
How many positions did you assume in testing the mark and to pretend to hit the door?
My lady, as I can explain, if I can explain to the court, I first tried different positions and different possibilities, and only when I actually got the position that fitted with the cricket bat, only then that we took pictures of the cricket bat. And you will see there's actually some photos where the bat is moved away from the door or slightly back or forth to actually see if one can make a physical match. Those pictures, those photographs are available, and we can go through them.
Did you take pictures that you described yesterday as that you did not regard as a natural position to be in, where it also fitted in the mark?
If you can just have a look at the album, I can show you what pictures were taken, and there was one where I was standing in a kind of unnatural position to try and
where it also replicated the mark.
Where they also replicated the mark, my lady. Yes.
But we'll get those photos.
Those photos were already made available to. Yes. All the photos are with the defence, and they got all of them.
No microscopic evidence in this file.
No microscopic evidence in this file, my lady.
So let's go to the second file.
It was a macroscopic investigation. It wasn't microscopic.
Let's go to the second file, Exhibit CC2. What is this file all about?
My lady, if you look at I guess it's the third page in the pile of papers that you got, you will see there's a covering letter signed by Mr. van Staden, and that one is dated the 20th of March last year. And the second page is actually a sample submission form that was completed by Warrant Officer van Staden when he submitted the specific evidence to the laboratory. On that sample submission form, you will see there's a date stamp also dated 20th of March. And this is the sample submission form that is submitted with all exhibits received at case reception downstairs at the Forensic Science Laboratory.
Which date was that?
That was the 20th of March, my lady.
So who received the exhibits then?
Case reception downstairs. We've got a section there dealing with the receiving of evidence, my lady, and it's an administrative task.
And what exhibits would this be?
This one would have been the cricket bat, as it's stated in, I think it's the third page. Just correct me. Is it the third page? The covering letter, the SAPS.
Is it the one that says the steel plate?
No, my lady.
Dated
sorry, I'm in file 3 now.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, my lady. File 2 is the steel plate. That was received on the 14th of March. If you look at the sample submission form, that was on the 14th of March.
I was paging through this document by also going to the investigation diary. What's in there?
In the investigation diary on the 26th of April, I said that I received an evidence sealing bag with number, well, I just said received and then a number. That was the evidence sealing bag PW 4206 9710, and I referred to entry 2.
Where is entry 2?
Entry 2 is actually this document. It was supposed to be entry 1. It's just the error in the writing.
Now you spoke about the microscopic test done in relation to the steel plate.
Yes, my lady.
Where is that?
That was just a physical observation through the microscope, and there's no physical evidence of that.
It's got a camera and the microscope.
Not the one that I used. I've used the microscope without the camera.
You have access to a microscope.
I do have access to a microscope with the camera, but I did not take a picture of that through the camera, my lady.
And file 3?
File 3 is when the cricket bat came back from Warrant Officer van Staden from the LCRC, submitted it on the 20th of March last year to the Forensic Science Laboratory, and it went through the same process. It was submitted downstairs at case reception.
Where's the file for the prosthetic legs that you had to examine?
My lady, the file with the prosthetic legs is not here. It was not an affidavit that was submitted for court purposes. It was agreed after I inspected it that I do not need to submit that investigation.
Who did you agree with?
With the investigating officer. I told the investigating officer that there's no, I couldn't determine anything on that, and therefore he said, okay, it's fine. We're not going to use that then.
When you received the sealed evidence back, did you receive a file with it, or did you open the file?
There is a file. There is a file available at the lab, which will give all the necessary information about it. So there is an entry, and I think it's entry 4 for that specific investigation, my lady.
Just to assist the court, because we have prepared in this and we've seen all the photos, and to demonstrate to the court some of the photos and the evidence or the questions that I'm going to put to you relevant to this, we will ask that photo 110 be screened. Thank you. Can you identify what you see on the photo, Colonel?
My lady, yes, indeed. This is the door where it was assembled in the, well, not assembled, I suspect that if I see it's the 14th of February, this was the door as it was found on the day of the incident.
Yes, that was 6:07, the photo. Just to demonstrate to the court, that's the door, how it would have been without the inside panels.
Yeah, my lady, if you look at the photograph there, you will see that this little piece here on the left-hand side of the door, if you're facing it, is still intact as it is there on the...
But the other panels are...
The other panels are removed, my lady.
If you can go to photo 112. There we get some idea about the panels.
Yes, my lady.
You see a panel next to the bath, and you see one inside the toilet, protruding to some extent.
That's correct, my lady.
So if you can go to photo 120 to find a close-up of that panel lying in the toilet.
That's correct, my lady.
Can you identify that panel in relation to the door?
My lady, it seems like it's the...
I would tell you it's the one on the right, but you can...
It's the one on the right-hand side. It's just with the face down.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that is the one you can see on the bottom. Are you satisfied with it?
I'm satisfied that it's that one.
So could you just assist the court with the little green light pointer that you have? It is that panel.
That's this panel, yes, my lady.
It is the panel that we accept for present purposes with the prosthetic footprint on.
The so-called prosthetic footprint.
Yes, I say for present purposes. Because you didn't investigate.
Yeah.
So that's that panel. What do you see about that panel that you think you should draw the court's attention to? You've said it. Is it upside down? It's
upside down with the face down, my lady. And if I'm talking about the face, I mean the face is the outside of the door.
In simple language, would it mean that and we accept for present purposes, I know you must be proved, that the prosthetic footprint, if you can call it that, that's at the bottom?
That's at the bottom, yes, my lady.
So I was just coming back to possibilities now. There were two possibilities debated with you. The one was that he kicked the door when it was intact and tried to break the door. You remember?
Yes, I remember, my lady.
And that followed in his bail application that he could not break it, and he then took the cricket bat.
That's correct, my lady.
And what followed from that proposition, that's as high as I want to put it, that he must have had his legs on at the time when he used the cricket bat.
That's your version, my lady.
Does it, on that assumption that the footprint is proved, would that not follow?
No, that would not follow. It doesn't mean that he actually kicked out that panel in the process, my lady. The panel could have been broken out of the frame of the door before he had his legs on. That's my version of the story.
That's your version?
Yeah. My findings, because my finding was that the cricket bat was used to break open the door, and in that action he was not wearing his prosthetic legs. I explained, my lady, where I said the cricket bat was hit through the door and it was used
on your theory, when would the kick now be?
My lady, on my theory, I had to accept their version that it was a kick. I never said there was a kick. I said the mark could have been caused by him stumbling over the piece of wood while it was there in the bathroom. So on my version, I never said there was a kick.
Let's go first back. We had two possibilities, and it was subject to proof. And we work on the assumption that is the footprint or the print on the door caused by the prosthetic foot. That's the assumption.
That's the assumption. I never said he kicked the door. He kicked the door while it was in position, my lady.
You entertained two possibilities. Can you remember that I dealt with?
Is it the assumptions that you're talking about?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, I didn't entertain it. It was an assumption that was put to me, my lady, and I said for the purpose of the assumption, we can talk on that.
I'm just testing how far you're prepared to consider the version of the accused. If you're not prepared to consider it, then it's fine. But we work on his version, nothing more. It may be false. We accept it for the moment, we assume the correctness. Can we do that?
As long as I'm not accused of accepting the version, madam.
No,
you don't. Can work on that. This is
quite frankly, you could not be bothered about that, Mark. So I'm not asking you to accept.
Okay.
So we know at the bail application already, the accused version was that he tried to open the door after the shooting. He kicked it. He had his prosthesis on. He kicked it. could not open it and then use the cricket bat to break open the door. That was the version.
Okay, that was the version.
Yes.
If that was his version, I accept it.
If that is proven to be the print caused by the prosthetic foot, then we know one thing, that Mr. Pistorius stood on his prosthesis when he kicked the door.
Not when he
We're
kicked the
coming to
door.
the other possibility.
Not when he kicked the door. When the mark was caused on the door, he probably had his prosthetic legs on them. If it was proven that it was that it came from the prosthetic leg, yes, my lady.
Yes, we work on that assumption. That would then be consistent with the man standing on his legs if he can kick that high.
If he can kick that high, that's his version that he kicked it out. If we accept the version just for the theoretical part of it now,
Yes.
then it's
Not
possible.
kicked it out, try to kick it out.
Try to kick it out.
Could not,
whatever.
and then use the bat. On that proposition, he was on his legs. On that proposition.
On that proposition,
Yes.
yes, my lady.
And on that proposition, your unnatural position would then be more acceptable.
My lady, on that proposition, it's also possible that he did not kick the door, or that mark was not caused by the footprint,
I
or by the prosthetic leg.
We understand that. That's your reservation. I'm working on that assumption. I'm just testing the reliability of a version through an expert. That's all. So on that proposition, the unnatural position would then make sense.
The
You hit
unnatural
the door with the
position.
cricket bat with the legs on, that would make sense. Standing up.
Yeah, he would be in an unnatural position when he hit the door.
Yes.
In this case, my lady.
It would conform then, because it would go hand in hand with his version and the marks on the door.
Yeah.
You agree?
I agree that
Yes.
if he had his legs on after kicking the door and he tried to break the door with a cricket bat, he must have been in an uncomfortable or unnatural position.
Yes. The second part, of course, the second possibility that you raised was that he caused the mark when again, I understand that, Colonel, assuming that it is a mark caused by the prosthetic foot. That's what we work on. You're not accepting it because you didn't test it.
Yeah.
Your second proposition was, of course, it could have happened that mark could have been imprinted on that panel by the prosthetic foot in him stumbling on it and causing the mark.
That's correct, my lady.
But of course we have now photo 120 that we can look at again. The mark at the bottom, not on the top. So when you stumble on the plank, it would be on the reverse side or the back side.
When he stumbled, this one was on the front side, so it's facing the floor in this photograph.
Yes, and where would we call it, the footprint be?
The
On this
footprint
photo,
would be
120.
facing the floor, as I said.
Facing the floor.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
when you walk on that plank, or you stumble on that plank, it cannot cause the imprint on the wrong side.
That's correct, my lady. Another very important thing on this picture is, if you look at the blood on the floor, the blood is smeared underneath that plank, which means that that plank, or that piece of panel, was put there or ended up there after the smear mark on the blood was on the floor was created.
And of course, it could have been
So,
tampering.
no, I'm not saying it's tampering, my lady. I just said that I never said tampering. I said the piece of the panel could have been moved into the bathroom, into that position, or was most probably moved into the toilet in that position after the deceased were moved out of the bathroom, and that is consistent with the panel lying on top of the blood smear.
Yes, I understand it. But you need then a second step. You need to say, well, the footprint's now at the bottom. You cannot cause that footprint. But of course, there's another possibility that somehow he turned the plank over first, stepped on it, and then, or first he stepped on the plank with the upside, the footprint up, and then he turned the plank over for the footprint to be at the bottom. That's a possibility, I think.
My lady, there's many possibilities in this. In the commotion that took place after he pulled the deceased out of the toilet, he could have moved the panel into the toilet. That's another possibility, and not taking note of which side must be on top and which side must be to the bottom. It could have been an automatic action trying to get the plank out of his way while he was probably trying to assist Mrs.
When would he then step on it?
Before he went into the bathroom. After he broke open the door and after the panels was removed, he could have stepped on it, he could have tripped over it. So
no, but he must not only do that on that theory. He must step hard enough that I still cannot understand how it would make a mark, and I invited you to do the test, we'll come to that, to make that mark. But then he must do something else. He must pick up that plank and put it back in a position that it's upside down.
That's correct, my lady. That's a version, that's a possibility that is on the table. And if I have to accept that that's a footprint on the door, they must be able to accept my a version like that as well, not necessarily my.
Okay, to photo 162, 162. What is it that you see?
I see supposedly the prosthesis legs of Mr. Pistorius wearing socks, blood on the legs.
That photo would show, if it's of course correct, the prosthesis with the foot.
That's correct, my lady.
That's what we say. That was the foot that kicked the door. Of course you don't accept it, it's just for your benefit. But you don't accept it.
My lady, I did not, well, that's a version put to me.
I need to know, you don't accept it, or you simply say, I don't know?
Except that it was the foot that opened that kicked the door
open.
Yeah. Well, if we're talking in assumptions now, my lady, so it is possible, according to the assumption, that that was the foot that.
It would have been, of course, fantastic. As a qualified footprint examiner, seeing that mark, investigating the door, seeing the door on more than one occasion, just to do the test.
My lady.
You had the prosthetic legs. Just do the test.
My lady.
To see what caused that mark.
That mark did not appear to me to be a shoe print or a footprint or a shoe or a foot making that mark, and that's why it was not compared with the legs of Mr. Pistorius. And I can also say that when I received the prosthetic legs, the legs did not have the socks on it. I received the legs without the socks.
Yes. Photo 414. What is it that you see there, if you can identify it to the court? 414. I'm sorry, I thought it was on screen. assist the court and tell the court what you see, and specifically in relation to the mark to the right of the yellow tape measure?
That's correct, my lady. Again, it's a photograph of that piece on the right there, showing the bullet holes as well as the mark.
Could you just focus with the green light on the mark that we can see it in relation to the door? It is beneath, it's to the left of the handle and beneath.
That's correct, my lady.
About, I guess, about from the handle itself, about 10 centimeters beneath?
It's probably 10, 12 centimeters.
And photo 413.
It's just a photograph.
It's basically the same, again showing the mark.
Yeah, showing the mark.
So the mark was, if I look at the two photos, the mark was receiving some attention by the police.
Say again, my lady.
Two close-up photos of the mark. There was some attention to that.
Yeah, I would not say it was the mark that was photographed. There's also bullet holes in there, my lady, which was also... and I would say these photographs pays attention to the bullet holes. They're the ones that were marked out.
Not to the mark.
I don't think so, my lady.
Then I want to show you another photo that we will hand up as Exhibit EE. Then you tell me if you know what this is. Possible for you to identify what you see in this photo?
It looks like the bottom side of the prosthetic legs, my lady.
With respect, my lady, we don't have one. We would really like to also see what...
You don't have?
No, not at all. It's not been handed to us.
I thought it was handed. What is it that you see?
It seems like it's the bottom side of the prosthetic legs, my lady.
For the foot?
With the foot, yes.
Yeah.
The sole of the foot.
And there's a date there?
27th of February 2013, my lady.
At 12 o'clock.
That's what...
Yes, that's what it says.
Yeah.
And then... give the state an opportunity. We'll hand in a photo marked as EE. And I will tell you what that is. To give the state another opportunity to look at this. This is what I showed to you. It's a piece that was cut out of the prosthetic foot in order to do the comparison and the markings and the microscopic testing in relation to the mark on the door. Do you know, as a matter of interest, Roger Dixon?
I know Roger Dixon.
Who is he?
He worked with me. He was my commander before he left in Lebanon.
Competent person?
I experienced him as a competent person, yes, my lady.
Was he your commander?
He was my commander, yes, my lady.
Of course, this was done by Roger Dixon.
Okay.
I want to ask you, I just missed that yesterday, I'm sorry about that, about photo 484E, in brackets E, 484E.
My lady, can I just on this picture, when was it cut out from the foot? When was this?
Why is it that you ask?
No, I just would like to know because it's presented to me as a piece of...
Yes, we will call Mr. Dixon because you did not even look at that.
That's fine.
So it was just consuming time to deal with you there. Can you go to photo 484E? What is that?
My lady, that is a photograph of me taken with a cricket bat standing up in a natural position without crouching down, just to show the angle of the bat in relation with the door if I was standing up. And that it must be compared with the one where I'm crouching down like this, where the angle of the bat was again shown.
Is the bat reaching sensibly the opening there, where the missing pieces would be?
Yeah, it's right there, my lady.
So it's a photo if you're standing up in a position.
That's correct, my lady.
With the bat in position with that.
In position with that. My lady, maybe on this picture I can just mention that the marks on the side of the bat, the indentations on the side of the bat, in this instance, did not match the contours and the lines of the door. So this is not to say that I say the bat was in this position when the door was beaten.
But you didn't push it in, it's just touching.
It's just touching. I just wanted to show the angle of the bat if I was standing up straight.
But you didn't push it in?
No, I didn't push it in this.
To see if it would match?
My lady, we can do that for investigation again here in court and show you exactly what I mean with this picture.
I was wondering yesterday, if I asked you to close your eyes and stand on your knees and to replicate that position, to swing the bat but not hit it or just bring it forward, what do you think would happen?
My lady, if I'm not exactly on the spot, I will be very close to the spot because it would be a kind of a natural position for me.
And standing?
And standing, I will probably hit it higher up.
Or if you bent your back like yesterday, where would it probably go?
If I bent my back, it would have been more or less, could have been in the same position.
Yes. I have one photo that I don't have a copy of, so may I just ask for a short adjournment? I just want to find out. I see it is 11 o'clock. I did not realize. I just do not have a copy of that, and I don't want to deal with that without a copy. If that's relevant, I just want to make sure.
How long will you need?
My lady, may I deal with another aspect in order not to waste time?
Yes.
I realize. Coming back, I'll come back to this photo after the adjournment. I'm concerned because I see in your curriculum vitae, you deal with crime scene investigation courses that you attended and so on, and the inventory. Because it's been reported to the police, and we wait for feedback, and we have photos to show between what time and what time it happened, but that the accused had a little cabinet or a box with watches, and watches went missing. And that's why we need also the inventory for that purpose.
My lady, I did not have access to that inventory. I did not compile that inventory, so I would not be the right person to ask for the inventory.
In your experience as a person that attended that crime scene investigation course, who must make this inventory?
My lady, usually the inventory that is made on the scene is of exhibits taken. It's not of every object found in the house. So if I investigated the scene, I would not have made an inventory of every object in the house, every watch, every chair, everything in the house. I would just make an inventory of the stuff that I collected on the scene, which I removed from the scene.
Who would be responsible for that inventory?
The crime scene manager, for the person in charge of the crime scene, would do that inventory, and he would record everything that is collected, my lady.
Because we know there was one, and I will tell you where it was. At the front door. Someone keeping an inventory, and we're trying to find that inventory. Would that go to your department?
No, my lady, that would not come to my department. Not unless it's necessary to come to us. Usually, as I said, it's the person in charge of the crime scene that will keep that record in, and that will most probably go into the case docket.
Now, when we were in court not too long ago, we saw also amongst members of the police a YouTube video. You remember what that was all about? The one with the cricket bat hitting the door.
Did I see it?
Yes, did you?
No, I did not. I'm not.
Well,
I haven't seen it.
We'll ask them, we'll take steps, we'll ask you to see it, because I'm not saying it's the truth. But as a person that worked on the door, I'll tell you what it was all about. It was done, and I don't know how scientific, but it was done in the UK with a microphone 180 meters away, and the person taking a bat and hitting a door, and then after that firing a 9mm to compare the significant resemblance of the shots.
No, I definitely did not see that video.
Did you do any test when you heard about the version that there was of the accused, there was first a shooting and then the hitting of the door, to understand the resemblance between that?
No, I did not do any investigation on that, my lady.
But you were aware of that version?
I became aware somewhere along the line that the door was broken open with a cricket bat. I knew there was shots fired, but I never did an investigation in that regard.
We know on your investigation that there were first shot fires and then the cricket bat broke the door. And
That's correct, my lady. That's correct. That's correct, my lady.
So what I'm trying to find out is that when you heard this version again, later on, whenever, that you go back to the forensic department to conduct that test, particularly because we see a number of policemen looking at this YouTube video, and I was just wondering, and if you
my lady,
I've
never seen a policeman watching that video. So I was not even aware of that video, and I did not do any investigations in that regard until now.
Lady, I tried to use some valuable time. It's only one outstanding aspect that I must deal with. Those are the photos. I just want to make sure that they're really relevant, and I don't have copies of that. May we take the adjournment till after the tea?
Yes.
Adjournment, my lady.
We'll take our tea adjournment.
Now those were live visuals from the Oscar Pistorius trial at the North Gauteng High Court in Pretoria, where Pistorius' defense advocate Barry Roux earlier questioned the qualifications of the forensic analyst Colonel Johannes Vermeulen. Now Roux has questioned Vermeulen's method of analyzing the tool marks. Vermeulen has analyzed the door from the home of Pistorius to determine if a cricket bat was used to hit it. Now Pistorius shot and killed his girlfriend Riva Stenkamp on Valentine's Day last year. Colonel Vermeulen admitted to not being certified to tool markings, but has enough experience to conduct the analysis. Now they'll be taking a tea break right now, and they'll be back right after that, after making a copy of one of the pictures that he need to show to the team, to the defense. I beg your pardon, to Barry Roux. Barry Roux will give it over to the state as well as to the judge. So we'll be back right after this.
is the best run metro in the whole of the country.
What steps will you take to protect communities from the kind of police brutality?
When I am the mayor, I won't take the R1 million salary.
You guys all look the same. None of you should be trusted.
Catch the election debates on SAFM, SABC News Channel and SABC 1, Sundays at 6 p.m.